can't because it's too much money. It's tremendous.
Are we going to watch the whole debate today? Yes. 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 So, like, the Democrats have to be trying to kill Biden, right? My entire timeline was just this last night. Trying to give Joe an Adderall through the TV.
Joe, you did such a great job. You answered every question. You knew all the facts. And let me ask the crowd, what did Trump do? Why?
These are demons, people. These are demons, people. Can I say something maybe a little bit mean? Is it or is it not kind of giving Get Out? Am I based or am I cringe? No, you're right. Stanton, thank you for the 12 months. Thank you. Dude, I don't like these people. There's something about like rich old white people that just, I don't like it. Some of them, it's giving Nancy Pelosi showing her $8,000 freezer. You feel?
Today.
This is hurt.
Out of that, 350
Up to
Rejected. Andy.
Thousands have been forced to wait for hours at food banks all
This is
across.
the Donald J. Trump official YouTube channel that put out a video 4 years ago on Nancy Pelosi's freezer. Nancy Antoinette.
We turn now to that $350 billion fund to help small businesses.
Criminal, thank you for the 30 months.
It will be up to Congress to restock it.
But Democrats blocking that move this morning.
They asked for $250 billion in 48 hours. I said, well, I don't think so. They objected.
Americans are losing their jobs.
Democrats.
Speaker Pelosi, what are you going to share with us from your home?
Chocolate candy.
Thousands have been forced to wait for hours at food banks all across the country.
This is
Oh my.
chocolate, and then we have some other chocolate here. We just got to restock the ice cream.
You don't want
Not
to eat up
everyone
there.
has a $24,000 stocked fridge. The richest part of this is like, have you seen Donald Trump's house? It's all in the most gaudy, gilded gold. Like, it's nasty. It's not, he is not a member of the proletariat, dude. Like, Lord Daniel, thank you for the 3 months. Thank you. Anyways, so Joel, thank you so much for 5 gift subs. Very generous of you. Thank you. Thank you so much. Oh, man. Thank you. Thank you. Now, I figure we could do a little bit of a highlight reel really quickly from a collection of things and then watch it together. Maybe watch the debate together, low-key. Because I'm going to be honest with you guys, I actually didn't watch the debate yesterday. I got a text message from a friend because I have those. Yeah, be jealous. Yeah, I have at least one friend. Is it Sabrina? Yes, yes. Yes, leave me alone. And she was like, hey, do you want to go outside tonight? And I was like, yeah, let's go. Because I have spent so much time at home lately. And then she was like, do you see any of the debate? And I was like, the debate's today? Oh, right, the debate. I forgot. So I haven't seen it yet. So I figure we can watch it together. Maybe. The debate was just plain terrifying, nothing else. Please don't watch it. I don't think I can watch it without KMS. Oh, Joel, thank you. Oh, welcome in. My mom and I were watching the debate last night. It made us feel luckier to be Chilean. I think self-harm is against TOS. Don't do this to yourself. Fuck. Real? This Hassan tweet kind of ate, though. This motherfucker on 1 HP. They put Biden's goal for the night written in the lower corner. Live. Incredible. Truly, if you live outside the USA and are somehow watching this, we really want to know what you're thinking at this point.
My son was not a loser, was not a sucker. You're the sucker. You're the loser.
President Trump?
First of all, that was a made-up quote, suckers and losers. They made it up. It was in a third-rate magazine that's failing, like many of these magazines.
My son was not a loser. For doing a whole range of things, of having sex with a porn star on the night while your wife was pregnant. I mean, what are you talking about? For doing a whole range of things.
Oh, this is the best recap, in my opinion. Let me see. Stop showing me this play out. Okay, you know what? Fuck you, TikTok. I'll try it. Wow. That floating player actually sucks dick. It's terrible. Do not try it. Continue without...
Too much worried about the edge.
That was actually dog shit. It opened a new window. Why would I want that? Why? Okay, sorry. Continuing. Fahar, thank you so much for the 2 gift subs. Thank you. Thank you so much. Why does Trump sound like the more reasonable one? Is this timeline? I'm going to pull up a tweet that I think summarizes it very well. Summarizes, and I haven't seen the debate, but I think it summarized it pretty well from the clips I saw. Denims, don't watch the debate. Don't tell me what to do. How dare you come in here and order me around? Who do you think I am? You are? All right. Wait. This clip was pretty good that I saw online. That's right, Emma.
By their in-laws, by their spouses, brothers and sisters, it's just ridiculous, and they can do nothing about it.
Thank you so much for the gift sub. Thank you for saving people from ad purgatory. If you're in ad purgatory right now, you're not listening to this, so I don't know why I'm addressing you. If you're not in ad purgatory, dude, fucking share your ad block or share a Prime sub or a gift sub for some people in chat who are suffering. Okay? I'm trying to make them suffer through the debate, not suffer through ads. Okay? I just want to make them suffer without selling them anything. Okay? Very different. What the fuck? Ad block work now? I mean, there's got to be somebody that has an ad block that works, right? Right? I'd rather watch ads right now, Denim. Old Thumb, thank you so much for the 3 gift subs. Thank you. We made it out the ad gulag, boys. Thank fucking God. Thank God. Contraman, thank you for the gift sub. Thank you guys. Also, just in general, I know I don't say it enough, and I don't say it often enough, but I do appreciate everybody who subs. I do appreciate everyone who gift subs. It's kind of really cool that I get to get on the internet and yell about 2 old men farting at each other on a stage. And that gets to be what I do in my time. And I can't do it without you guys supporting me. So I did want to give a shout out to everyone who does support, everyone who subs, everyone who primes, everyone who gifts. I really appreciate it. And it really does mean a lot. So thank you. Thank you so much. Very generous of all of you. Not. Sorry. Thank you for the 5 gift subs. And Rayno Jam, thank you for the gift sub. Thank you. YP Bodini, thank you for the gift sub to Baby Cakes. Thank you. Thank you guys. Okay. Now that people are out of ad purgatory, I'm ready to make you guys suffer. You guys, you thought I would let you guys be free. Don't be ridiculous. Okay. No. This is the suffer stream. SS. Wait a minute. It's like a ship. SS suffer. What triple S? Uh-oh. That's not good. Scrap that. Scrap. It's scrap it. That didn't, no. You didn't hear that. No. It's like when you send someone a message and you're like, okay, and you put one too many Ks and you're like, edit, iPhone, computer, edit, too many Ks, edit. Wow, and so the mask slips. Interesting. Roll the Northern Lion SS clip. Wait. I have to pull the clip up. Illusion, thank you so much for the gift sub. If anyone hasn't seen it, 1 second. You send too many Ks and now suddenly you're a grand wizard. It's not cool, man. Can I go? Wait, I'm sorry. I know that there are not a lot of people in here who watch bald streamers because you're bald phobic. It's fucking disgusting. Grow up. Bald people are people too, and they deserve respect. Okay, you fucking freaks. But once if you've seen this clip, choose if you haven't seen this clip, because I want to know how many people I'm enlightening. Oh yes, he's bald. Haas bald.
I just like, Dan, it's you and me against the world.
Okay.
I took one.
His face. No, no, no.
Dan, it's you and me against the world.
Okay.
I took one. One is like kind of right here by orange, I think.
Just camp in a corner. I'm coming to you.
Got one.
Got the other. Full tear.
Last one's right here. Oh wait, you gotta.
You ever use like a lightning bolt spray in a war zone and then you realize, oh God, I just used it twice in a row and now it looks like a Nazi symbol? No, remove it. And you can't delete it because for some reason it won't get off the wall. Oh, no. Delete, abort, computer.
Oh, on you, on top of you. All
right, Ryan.
Drop down. I'm not a fucking...
Just run away from the crime. The game was like, you made your choice. Live with it. Oh, Lord. Oh, wait. I was going to watch that. Okay, hold up. Let's finish the highlights, and then we're going to watch... We're going to watch the actual debate. Because I haven't seen it, so it'll be my live reaction, real, true.
Move until we get the total ban on
This is captioned, this was the kill shot.
the total initiative relative to what we can do with more border patrol and more asylum officers.
President Trump? I really don't know what he said at the end of that sentence. I don't think he knows what he said either. Look.
Oh, this one, we already saw this one, yeah. This one?
Making sure that we're able to make every single solitary person eligible for what I've been able to do with the COVID, with dealing with everything we have to do with, look, if we finally beat Medicare.
Thank you, President Biden. President Trump?
Well, he's right. He did beat Medicare. He beat it to death, and he's destroying Medicare.
Making sure that we're able to...
Okay, I must admit, I really do like the meme format. The Patrick meme format. The another 20 trillion to Israel. Or Project 2025. This is my president, dog. We're getting Nazis. This is our president.
Have you ever had a dream that you
This is him. Yeah, that's the one. That's what he looks like. That's what he, yeah. Yeah. Let me see 1 second. Whoa. Where'd it go? There was a tweet I was going to show you guys. I lost it, I guess. The funniest thing about that video is Biden was already 100 years old when that kid was born. That's real. That is actually true. Okay, let's see this. Oh, I saw this clip. This is actually the craziest clip of the debate that I saw. Sorry, a debate.
For doing a whole range of things, of having sex with a porn star on the night while your wife was pregnant.
Wait,
Biden? What are you talking about? For doing.
No, wait, I didn't mean to click that one. Wait.
You can see he is 6'5" and only 223 pounds, or 235 pounds. Well, you said 6'4", 200. Well, anyway, that's what you. Anyway, just take a look at what he says he is, and take a look at what he is. Look, I'd be happy to have a driving contest with him. The reason I got my handicap, which when I was vice president, down to a 6. But by the way, I told you before, I'm happy to play golf if you carry your own bag. Think you can do it?
That's the biggest lie. He's a 6 handicap of all.
I was an 8 handicap.
Yeah.
8.
Never.
But I have, you know how many?
I've seen you swing. I know you swing.
Okay, let's not
act like children.
President Trump, we're going to
Let's not act like children.
A whole range of things, of having sex with a porn star on the night while your wife was pregnant. I mean, what are you talking about?
The head nods from Trump this entire debate were insane. Like, Biden will say something and be like, there was one clip, I'm struggling to find it now, but there was a clip where he was like, well, one of us is a convicted felon. And then Trump just goes, why are you nodding? Why are you nodding? I haven't seen this one.
Making sure that we're able to make every single solitary person eligible for what I've been able to do with the with the COVID. Excuse me, with dealing with everything we have to do with. Look, if we finally beat Medicare.
Thank you, President President Trump.
Well, he's right. He did beat Medicare. He beat it to death, and he's destroying Medicare.
Making sure that we're able to make every single.
What is this, Marianne?
We saw the people breaking through windows. We saw people occupying their.
See these two old guys?
Look, there's a reason why.
Trump and Biden.
Top cabinet officers.
Yeah, I know, me too. Racist geezer, ineffective, genocidal geezer. I know.
Thank you, President Biden.
All right, and I would like to show. Let's see this video.
I ain't too much worried about the education of the kids. Bitch, can you golf?
Why did you know you can't golf with me? Come on now, don't do that.
I'm saying I've been on this earth 80-some years, bitch. If you can golf, you can run the country, and I know you're scared of golf.
He can't even finish the sentence, and he's telling me that he can golf with me. Are you serious?
I can't finish.
No.
Oh God.
See, he can't even talk straight. What are we doing here?
Can you golf though?
Yes, I can golf.
Don't raise your voice.
I can golf.
Yeah, okay.
America moment.
Okay, I ain't worried about this motherfucking cut. I'm worried about the nigga can golf. Because when you can golf, nigga, that's what tells you if you can run the country.
I can golf better than you.
I ain't doing no presidential debate with somebody who don't run the country like me. I'm still.
Hey, what happened to the? Hey, wait a minute. Hey, what happened to the screen? Who turned my monitor off? Hey, wait a minute. There we go.
And I have more money than you.
America moment, real and true America moment. Real and true. And finally, I thought that this was, from the clips that I saw, I thought that this was a pretty good summary of the debate. Trump, we're going to fix the problems, all of the problems we see Ukraine. We've all seen Ukraine. People have seen it many times. Biden. Listen, if some of the nation's people have been good country, just really that's not dumping the debt. Come on. I love Katie. I love Katie so much. I love Katie so much. Oh. Good morning, Demo says, you know the one strategically placed air horn during the next debate could get us 2 new candidates. Denim heart attack. Denim heart attack. Wormy's idea. Oh, Mario, thank you. It's 26 months. Thank you. Oh, I don't know why the TTS randomly chooses to work and not work. I'm sorry. Yeah, this was the debate. The debate. Moderator, what are your views on the economy? Joe Biden, nose starts bleeding. Donald Trump, we are gonna find and kill the Grinch. Mark my words. We are gonna use the big guns. It's gonna be something, folks. Moderator, moving on. What would you do in school choice? Trump, getting back to the Grinch thing, we're gonna fly a drone down to his little mountain chimney. There's no one on earth he could hide. Yeah. See, the difference between Trump and Biden, there's a common misconception that Biden is totally senile and Trump isn't. And here's the thing, Biden is completely senile, but you have to recognize that the only difference between Biden and Trump is that Biden can't seem to manage saying words. Trump can say words, they just don't make any sense when he strings them together in a sentence. That's the problem. I think the DNC might need to kill Biden. I think they need to kill him. I don't mean to be the one to say it, but pull the plug on him, man. Pull the plug. When I went to hang out with Sabrina yesterday, I saw Biden on the TV and I was like, dude, where is his color? He looks gray. He looks gray. Zombie question mark?
Watchers in our instant poll, and the answer is a resounding Donald Trump did.
Who won the debate? 33% Biden, 67% Trump.
7% of debate watchers in our poll say Donald Trump won the debate tonight. Joe Biden, 33% say he won the debate tonight. Now, this group of debate watchers, they told us who they thought would win the debate watchers in our instant.
Guys, is this good? Quote, our only hopes is that he bows out, we have a brokered convention, or he dies, the donor advisor says. Otherwise, we're fucking dead. I saw a tweet claiming Biden is doubling down and going to the debate in September. Whoever this congressman is perfectly summed up the way we all felt after watching that debate. Can't hear anything. I'm scared to raise the volume.
Paused for several seconds and then gave a confusing answer. He said that when that happened, the entire room was just completely silent and in shock, and that this member's own reaction was that he wanted to jump off of a bridge. Throughout the course of the 90 minutes of the debate, he and the other lawmakers in the room felt like Donald Trump looked young and Joe Biden looked old, and that Donald Trump.
I was at a watch party and this congressman said after the debate he wanted to jump off a bridge. Good. Good. Democracy manifest. Well, let's watch it, shall we? What did he say? What did she say? I just said it. Listen with your ears. Listen. Open your ears. Listen. I'm not raising the volume on a TikTok that's recording a TV so that when the person recording laughs, my eardrums fucking explode. Think. Chat. Think. All right. Let's watch it.
We're live from Georgia, a key battleground state in the race for the White House. In just moments, the current U.S. president will debate the former U.S. president as their party's presumptive nominees, a first in American history.
Yeah. Whatever.
It is being produced by CNN.com between President.
Yeah. I don't care.
A debate.
Put the old people on stage. Let me see the old guys. The rules, they're not going to follow the rules. From what I saw, they weren't even answering the questions correctly. All right, let's see.
These rules.
Now, please welcome the 46th president of the United States, Joe Biden.
Folks, how are you?
Oh, my God.
Great to be here.
Where's the adrenochrome, dude?
And please welcome the 45th president.
He looks gray. Where is the color?
President of the United States, Donald Trump. Gentlemen, thanks so much for being here.
Denims, you know, you can use J and K and L to skip and go back 10 seconds and also pause. I usually just use the arrow keys, but did you know that you can use the comma and period to go frame by frame like this?
In the debate, and let's start with the issue that voters consistently say is their top concern, the economy. President Biden, inflation has slowed, but prices remain high. Since you took office, the price of essentials has increased. For example, a basket of groceries that cost $100 then now costs more than $120. And typical home prices have jumped more than 30%. What do you say to voters who feel they are worse off under your presidency than they were under President Trump?
He starts like this? I didn't know he started like a corpse.
We got to take a look at what I was left when I became president and what Mr. Trump left me. We had an economy that was in free fall. The pandemic was so badly handled. Many people were dying. All he said was, it's not that serious. Just inject a little bleach into your arm. You'll be all right.
Okay. He's saying words and sentences. Okay.
Collapsed. There were no jobs. Unemployment rate rose to 15%.
Dude, look at how gray he looks. They sucked all the color out of his face. What the fuck?
It was terrible. And so what we had to do is try to put things back together again. And that's exactly what we began to do. We created 15,000 new jobs. We brought on a position where we have 800,000 new manufacturing jobs. But there's more to be done. There's more to be done. Working class people are still in trouble. I come from Scranton, Pennsylvania. I come of households where the kitchen table, if the things weren't able to be met during the month, it was a problem. The price of eggs, the price of gas, the price of housing, the price of a whole range of things. That's why I'm working so hard to make sure I deal with those problems. And we're going to make sure that we reduce the price of housing. We're going to make sure we build 2 million new units. We're going to make sure we cap rents so corporate greed can't take over. The combination, what I was left with in corporate greed, is the reason why we're in this problem right now. In addition to that, we're in a situation where if you take a look at all that was done in his administration, he didn't do much at all. By the time he left, things were in chaos, literally chaos. And so we put things back together. We created, I said, those jobs. We make sure we had a situation where we brought down the price of prescription drugs, which is a major issue for many people, to $15 for a insulin shot as opposed to $400. No senior has to pay more than $200 for any drug, all the drugs they can include beginning next year. And the situation is and we're going to make that available to everybody, to all Americans. So we're working to bring down the price of around the kitchen table, and that's what we're going to get done.
Thank you. President Trump?
We had the greatest economy in the history.
Oh my God. Oh my God. It's so good. It's hilarious, dude. Pug Daddy, think of the AirPods.
Of our country. We have never done so well. Everybody was amazed by it. Other countries were copying us. We got hit with COVID. And when we did, we spent the money necessary so we wouldn't end up in a Great Depression, the likes of which we had in 1929. By the time we finished, so we did a great job. We got a lot of credit for the economy, a lot of credit for the military, and no wars, and so many other things. Everything was rocking good. But the thing we never got the credit for, and we should have, is getting us out of that COVID mess. He created mandates that was a disaster for our country. But other than that, we had given them back a country where the stock market actually was higher than pre-COVID, and nobody thought that was even possible. The only jobs he created are for illegal immigrants and bounce-back jobs, the bounce-back from the COVID. He has not done a good job. He's done a poor job, and inflation's killing our country. It is absolutely killing us.
Thank you. President Biden?
Well, look, the greatest economy in the world. He's the only one who thinks that, I think. I don't know anybody else who thinks he had the greatest economy in the world. And, you know, the fact of the matter is that we found ourselves in a situation where his economy, he rewarded the wealthy. He had the largest tax cut in American history, $2 trillion. He raised a deficit larger than any president has in any one term. He's the only president other than Herbert Hoover who's lost more jobs than he had when he began, since Herbert Hoover. The idea that he did something that was significant. And the military, you know, when he was president, they were still killing people in Afghanistan. He didn't do anything about that. When he was president, we were still finding ourselves in a position where you had a notion that we were this safe country. The truth is, I'm the only president this century that doesn't have any, this decade, that doesn't have any troops dying anywhere in the world.
This century. Decade. Wow, this is how it starts, huh? This is how it starts? Okay. All right.
Like he did.
President Trump, I want to follow up if I can.
Am I allowed to respond to him?
Well, I'm going to ask you a follow-up. You can do whatever you want with the minute that we give you. I want to follow up. You want to impose a 10% tariff on all goods coming into the U.S. How will you ensure that that doesn't drive prices even higher?
It's not going to drive them higher. It's just going to cost countries that have been ripping us off for years, like China and many others, in all fairness to China. It's going to just force them to pay us a lot of money, reduce our deficit tremendously, and give us a lot of power for other things. But he made a statement. The only thing he was right about is I gave you the largest.
Oh my God, look at him. He looks dead. I don't know how else to say that.
Tax cut in history. I also gave you the largest regulation cut in history. That's why we had all the jobs. And the jobs went down and then they bounced back, and he's taking credit for bounce back jobs. You can't do that. He also said he inherited 9% inflation. No, he inherited almost no inflation, and it stayed that way for 14 months. And then it blew up under his leadership because they spent money like a bunch of people that didn't know what they were doing, and they don't know what they were doing. It was the worst, probably the worst administration in history. There's never been. And as far as Afghanistan is concerned, I was getting...
I like how you can see him picking up the pen, doing absolutely nothing with it, and then putting it down. Like, you know, this is what it looked like on the paper. Hold up, let me show you guys. One second. Patience.
In history. There's never been.
Wait.
I don't know what they were doing. It was the worst, probably the worst administration in history. There's never...
He literally did this. And then he put it down.
We're doing, and they don't know what they were doing. It was the worst, probably the worst administration in history. There's never been. And as far as Afghanistan is concerned, I was getting out of
Denims, he was literally stimming
Afghanistan, but we were getting out with dignity, with strength, with power. He got out. It was the most embarrassing day in the history of our country's life.
President Trump, over the last 8 years, under both of your administrations, the national debt soared to record highs. And according to a new nonpartisan analysis, President Trump, your administration approved $8.4 trillion in new debt, while so far, President Biden, you've approved $4.3 trillion in new debt. So, former President Trump, many of the tax cuts that you signed into law are set to expire next year. You want to extend them and go even further, you say. With the U.S. facing trillion-dollar deficits and record debt, why should top earners and corporations pay even less in taxes than they do now?
Because the tax cuts spurred the greatest economy that we've ever seen just prior to COVID. And even after COVID, it was so strong that we were able to get through COVID much better than just about any other country. But we spurred, that tax spurred. Now, when we cut the tax...
Yeah, we only killed 1 million Americans. We did a great job. Only 1 million Americans. And now our Americans think that vaccines don't work and kids are dying of measles. And people think that their fruit is made out of plastic. Yep, we're doing a great job. We're doing a great job. Like, I think that the core of this is honestly the fact that we allow liberals to vote, but we don't allow felons to vote. What do you mean this person can vote? What do you mean this lady can vote? I'm telling y'all, so much of this is based in the unchecked ableism of this country. This has been an enormously successful presidency. But because the architect of it is an old man with a stutter and a raspy voice and a halting walk, we've decided he's unqualified. Bullshit. We're not saying that, like, Biden should be executed for the sin of being too old. We're saying he shouldn't be allowed to run for president. Fuck, dude, I would hope that me as an old fuck, I'm allowed to stutter and fucking stumble around places and be as senile as I would like to be. I want to be old and just be like, there's there's money. And hand over money to the cashier. Okay? That's what I want to be able to do when I'm old. I don't think I should be able to run for office.
Taxes. As an example, the corporate tax was cut down to 21% from 39%, plus beyond that. We took in more revenue with much less tax, and companies were bringing back trillions of dollars back into our country. The country was going like never before. And we were ready to start paying down debt. We were ready to start using the liquid gold right under our feet, the oil and gas right under our feet. We were going to have something that nobody else has had. We got hit with COVID. We did a lot to fix it. I gave him an unbelievable situation with all of the therapeutics and all of the things that we came up with. We gave him something great. Remember,
Yo, actually, the real winner of this debate was the split screen. This was crazy that CNN did this, by the way. Because not a single time has the split screen made Biden look good.
More people died under his administration, even though we had largely fixed it. More people died under his administration than our administration, and we were right in the middle of it, something which a lot of people don't like to talk about. But he had far more people dying in his administration. He did the mandate, which is a disaster, mandating it. The vaccine went out. He did a mandate on the vaccine, which is the thing that people most objected to about the vaccine. And he did a very poor job, just a very poor job. And I will tell you, not only poor there, but throughout the entire world, we're no longer respected as a country. They don't respect our leadership. They don't respect the United States anymore. We're like a third world nation between weaponization of his election, trying to go after his political opponent, all of the things he's done. We've become like a third world nation, and it's a shame. The damage he's done to our country, and I'd love to ask him, and will, why he allowed millions of people to come in here from prisons, jails, and mental institutions to come into our country and destroy our country.
President Trump.
I'm sorry, wait, what?
Ask him, and will, why he allowed millions of people to come in here from prisons, jails, and mental institutions to come into our country and destroy our country.
President Trump, we will get to immigration later.
This is what I mean when I say that Biden's problem is that he's struggling to say words. Trump's problem is that the words that he says in the order he says them don't make any sense. Biden is allowing millions of people from prisons to come into here, into this country and destroy it. What are you talking about? Like, Where? What? Who?
Block. President Biden, I want to give you an opportunity to respond to this question about the national debt.
He had the largest national debt of any president in a 4-year period, number one. Number two, that $2 trillion tax cut benefited the very wealthy. What I'm going to do is fix the tax system. For example, we have 1,000 trillionaires in America. I mean, billionaires in America. And what's happening? They're in a situation where they, in fact, pay 8.2% in taxes. If they just paid 24%, 25%, either one of those numbers, they'd raise $500 billion, I should say, in a 10-year period. We'd be able to wipe out his debt. We'd be able to help make sure that all those things we need to do, child care, elder care, making sure that we continue to strengthen our healthcare system, making sure that we're able to make every single solitary person eligible for what I've been able to do with the with the COVID. With dealing with everything we have to do with. Look, if we finally beat Medicare.
Thank you, President Biden. President Trump.
Noises. Well, he's right. He did beat Medicare. He beat it to death, and he's destroying Medicare because all of these people are coming in. They're putting them on Medicare. They're putting them on Social Security. They're going to destroy Social Security. This man is going to single-handedly destroy Social Security. These millions and millions of people coming in, they're trying to put them on Social Security. He will wipe out Social Security. He will wipe out Medicare. So he was right in the way he finished that sentence. And it's a shame. What's happened to our country in the last 4 years is not to be believed. Foreign countries, I'm friends with a lot of people. They cannot believe what happened to the United States of America.
What is the question even about at this point? I forgot what the question's about.
We're no longer respected. They don't like us. We give them everything they want, and they think we're stupid. They think we're very stupid people. What we're doing for other countries, and they do nothing for us. What this man has done is absolutely criminal.
Thank you, President Trump. Dana?
This is the first presidential election since the Supreme Court overturned Roe v. Wade. This morning, the court ruled on yet another abortion case, temporarily allowing emergency abortions to continue in Idaho, despite that state's restrictive ban. Former President Trump, you take credit for the decision to overturn Roe v. Wade, which returned the issue of abortion to the states.
Correct.
However, the federal government still plays a role in whether or not women have access to abortion pills. They're used in about 2/3 of all abortions. As president, would you block abortion medication?
First of all, the Supreme Court just approved the abortion bill, and I agree with their decision to have done that, and I will not block it. And if you look at this whole question that you're asking, complex, but not really complex. 51 years ago, you had Roe v. Wade, and everybody wanted to get it back to the states. Everybody, without exception. Democrats, Republicans, liberals, conservatives, everybody wanted it back. Religious leaders. And what I did is I put 3 great Supreme Court justices on the court, and they happened to vote in favor of killing Roe v. Wade and moving it back to the states. This is something that everybody wanted. Now, 10 years ago or so, they started talking about how many weeks and how many this, getting into other things. But every legal scholar throughout the world, the most respected, wanted it brought back to the states. I did that. Now the states are working it out. If you look at Ohio, it was a decision that was, an end result that was a little bit more liberal than you would have thought. Kansas, I would say the same thing. Texas is different. Florida is different. But they're all making their own decisions right now. And right now, the states control it. That's the vote of the people. Like Ronald Reagan, I believe in the...
I agree, dude. We should go a step further, okay? We should let states have the right to make their decisions about whatever they want. Yup. Yup. Uh-huh. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Sure. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Well, who needed the Civil War, dude? Right? Just fucking, who needed that? Who needed that? Honestly, let's bring back like women's rights on the table. Let's bring back Black American rights on the table. Fucking why not, dude? Fucking why not? Why does Joe look like he's actively decomposing as we watch?
exceptions. I am a person that believes. And frankly, I think it's important to believe in the exceptions. Some people, you have to follow your heart. Some people don't believe in that. But I believe in the exceptions for rape, incest, and the life of the mother. I think it's very important. Some people don't. Follow your heart. But you have to get elected also. And because that has to do with other things. You got to get elected. The problem they have is they're radical because they will take the life of a child in the 8th month, the 9th month, and even after birth. After birth.
We're still on this. We're still on this. Follow your heart. Kill the baby after you've given birth.
If you look at the former governor of Virginia, he was willing to do this. He said, we'll put the baby aside and we'll determine what we do with the baby, meaning we'll kill the baby. What happened is we brought it back to the states, and the country is now coming together on this issue. It's been a great thing.
Thank you. President Biden?
It's been a terrible thing, what you've done. The fact is that the vast majority of constitutional scholars supported Roe when it was decided. Supported Roe. And that's this idea that they were all against it is just ridiculous. And this is the guy who says the state should be able to have it. We're in a state where in 6 weeks, you don't even know whether you're pregnant or not, but you cannot see a doctor and have him decide on what your circumstances are, whether you need help. The idea that states are able to do this is a little like saying we're going to turn civil rights back to the states, let each state have a different rule. Look, there's so many young women who have been, including a young woman who just was murdered, and he went to the funeral. The idea that she was murdered by an immigrant coming in, they talk about that. But here's the deal: there's a lot of young women who are being raped by their in-laws, by their spouses, brothers and sisters, it's just ridiculous, and they can do nothing about it. And they try to arrest them when they cross state lines.
Thank you.
Let's see the transcript on that, shall we? Let's see. I gotta see the transcript on that. We gotta read it in a normal tone, okay? Not in the mumbling, whispering in my ear tone. Let each state have a different rule. Look, so there's so many young women who have just been, including a young woman who just was murdered, and he went to the funeral. The idea that she was murdered by an immigrant coming into, they talk about that, but here's the deal. There's a lot of women being raped by their in-laws, by their spouses, brothers, sisters, but it's just ridiculous. They can do nothing about it. They try to arrest them when they cross state lines. Thank you. Glacy, thank you for 20 months. The question is about abortion and states' rights. Yes? What does a young woman being murdered by an immigrant have to do with anything? And what does young women being raped by their brothers and sisters have anything to do? He said not everyone has a planned pregnancy. Then why did he say lots of young women have been getting raped by their sister? What is happening? Continuing, carrying on.
There have been many young women murdered by the same people he allows to come across our border. We have a border that's the most dangerous place anywhere in the world. Consider the most dangerous place anywhere in the world. And he opened it up, and these killers are coming into our country, and they are raping and killing women. And it's a terrible thing. As far as the abortion is concerned, it is now back with the states. The states are voting. In many cases, it's frankly a very liberal decision. In many cases, it's the opposite. But they're voting, and it's bringing it back to the vote of the people, which is what everybody wanted, including the founders, if they knew about this issue, which, frankly, they didn't. But they would have, everybody wanted it brought back. Ronald Reagan wanted it brought back. He wasn't able to get it. Everybody wanted it brought back, and many presidents had tried to get it back. I was the one to do it. And again, this gives it the vote of the people, And that's where they wanted it. Every legal scholar wanted it that way.
Staying on the topic of abortion, President Biden, 7 states, I'll let you do that. This is the same topic. 7 states have no legal restrictions on how far into a pregnancy a woman can obtain an abortion. Do you support any legal limits on how late a woman should be able to terminate a pregnancy?
I supported Roe v. Wade, which had 3 trimesters. The first time is between the woman and the doctor. Second time is between the doctor and an extreme situation. The third time is between the doctor, between the woman and the state. The idea that
I gotta go back. I gotta go back. I gotta go back.
Biden, 7 states, I'll let you do that. This is the same topic. 7 states have no legal restrictions on how far into a pregnancy a woman can obtain an abortion. Do you support any legal limits on how late a woman should be able to terminate a pregnancy?
I supported Roe v. Wade, which had 3 trimesters. The first time is between the woman and the doctor. Second
What? Gold Gregory, thank you for 21 months. To reiterate, the question was, Biden, do you have a limit on when a woman can get an abortion in this country? Like, when do you think you are no longer allowed to get an abortion? There's 3 trimesters. The first time is between the woman and the doctor.
Second time is between the doctor and an extreme situation. The third time is between the doctor, between the woman and the state. The idea that the politicians, that the founders wanted the politicians to be the ones making decisions about women's health is ridiculous. That's the last. No politician should be making that decision. A doctor should be making those decisions. That's how it should be run. That's what you're going to do. And if I'm elected, I'm going to restore Roe v. Wade.
So that means he...
Why did he say all that when he just said it? He could have just said, if I'm elected, I'm going to restore Roe v. Wade. Also, you're already in office. Why not do it now? You're the president now. You are elected.
Can take the life of the baby in the 9th month and even after birth, because some states, Democrat run, take it after birth. Again, the former governor of Virginia, put the baby down, then we decide what to do with it. So he's willing to, as we say, rip the baby out of the womb in the 9th month and kill the baby. Nobody wants that to happen, Democrat or Republican. Nobody wants it to happen.
That is simply not true.
But who's that? When is that happening?
The Roe v. Wade does not provide for that. That's not the circumstance. Only if a woman's life is in danger, she's going to die. That's the only circumstance in which that can happen. But we are not for late-term abortion, period. Period, period.
Under Roe v. Wade, you have late-term abortion.
Oh, thank you.
You can do whatever you want, depending on the state. You can do whatever you want. We don't think that's a good thing. We think it's a radical thing. We think the Democrats are the radicals, not the Republicans.
For 51 years, that was the law. 51 years, constitutional scholarship said it was the right way to go. 51 years, and it was taken away because this guy put very conservative members on the Supreme Court. He takes credit for taking it away. What's he going to do? What's he going to do, in fact, if the MAGA Republicans, he gets elected, and the MAGA Republicans control the Congress, and they pass a universal ban on abortion, period, across the board at 6 weeks or 7 or 8 or 10 weeks, something very, very conservative. Is he going to sign that bill? I'll veto it. He'll sign it.
Thank you.
Let's turn now to the issue of immigration and border security.
Wow, that was great. I feel like I really understand both of their positions on abortion now. I'm glad. Okay. Understandable, Joe the human. Understandable. Oh.
President Biden, a record number of migrants have illegally crossed the southern border on your watch. Overwhelming border states.
I have to change my title, guys. I have to change my title. 1 second. 1 second. One second. Mike from PA. Was right. Moving on.
Hello.
And continuing.
Hope everyone is well.
Continuing. Mike stands. You guys are welcome to celebrate. Enjoy yourselves. Do your little dancey. You go ahead, have some fun. Enjoy. It's two dumb bitches telling each other exactly. Yeah. True. Thank you for the 7 months. Thank you. Thank you. All right. Okay. Okay. All right. Continuing.
And overburdening cities such as New York and Chicago, and in some cases causing real safety and security concerns. Given that,
thank you for the 11 months.
Why should voters trust you to solve this crisis?
Because we worked very hard to get a bipartisan agreement that not only changed all of that, it made sure that we are in a situation where you had no circumstance where they could come across the border with the number of border police there are now. We significantly increased the number of asylum officers. By the way, the Border Patrol endorsed my position. In addition to that, we found ourselves in a situation where when he was president, he was separating babies from their mothers, putting them in cages, making sure the families were separated. That's not the right way to go. What I've done since I've changed the law, what's happened? I've changed it in a way that now you're in a situation where there are 40% fewer people coming across the border illegally. It's better than when he left office. And I'm going to continue to move until we get the total ban on the total initiative relative to what we can do with more Border Patrol and more asylum officers.
President Trump?
I really don't know what he said at the end of that sentence. I don't think he knows what he said either. Look, we had the safest border in the history of our country. The border, all he had to do was leave it. All he had to do was leave it. He decided to open up our border, open up our country to people that are from prisons, people that are from mental institutions, insane asylum, terrorists. We have the largest number of terrorists coming into our country right now, all terrorists, all over the world, not just in South America, all over the world. They come from the Middle East, everywhere. All over the world, they're pouring in. And this guy just left it open. And he didn't need legislation because I didn't have legislation. I said, close the border. We had the safest border in history. In that final couple of months of my presidency, we had, according to Border Patrol, who is great, and by the way, who endorsed me for president, but I won't say that, but they endorsed me for president.
I won't say that, but they endorsed me for president. But I won't say it. But they did endorse me. In case you're curious, they did. But I won't say it. But I won't say it. Well, Broca, thank you. Thank you so much for the tier 1. Thank you. You know, I won't say it, but you can avoid the top of the hour ad break every hour. That's coming up very shortly in 2 minutes. If you sub Prime or gift sub. But I won't say it. But if you wanted to, if you wanted to, but I won't say it.
Then just speak to him. But
is it what's going on in Biden's mind?
We had the safest border in history. Now we have the worst border in history. There's never been anything like it. And people are dying all over the place, including the people that are coming up in caravans.
President Trump. President Biden?
The only terrorist who's done anything crossing the border is one who came along and killed 3, under his administration, killed Al-Qaeda person coming in his administration, killed 3 American soldiers, That's the only terrorist that's there. I'm not saying that no terrorist ever got through, but the idea they're emptying their prisons. We're welcoming these people. That's simply not true. There's no data to support
No
what he
data to
said.
support it.
Once again, he's exaggerating. He's lying.
President Trump, staying on the topic of immigration, you've said that you're going to carry out, quote, the largest domestic deportation operation in American history, unquote. Does that mean that you will deport every undocumented immigrant in America, including those who have jobs, including those whose spouses are citizens, and including those who have lived here for decades? And if so, how will you do it?
Just 1 second. He said we killed 3 people. The people we killed are al-Baghdadi and Soleimani, the 2 greatest terrorists, biggest terrorists anywhere in the world. And it had a huge impact on everything, not just border, on everything. He's the one that killed people with the bad water, including hundreds of thousands of people dying and also killing our citizens when they come in. We are living right now in a rat's nest. They're killing our people in New York, in California, in every state in the union, because we don't have borders anymore. Every state is now a border. And because of his ridiculous, insane, and very stupid policies, people are coming in and they're killing our citizens at a level that we've never seen. We call it migrant crime. I call it Biden migrant crime. They're killing our citizens at a level that we've never seen before. And you're reading it like these 3 incredible young girls over the last few days. One of them, I just spoke to the mother, and he just had the funeral for this girl, 12 years old. This is horrible what's taken place. What's taken place in our country, we're literally an uncivilized country now. He doesn't want it to be. He just doesn't know. He opened the borders. Nobody's ever seen anything like. And we have to get a lot of these people out, or we have to get them out fast, because they're going to destroy our country. Just take a look at where they're living. They're living in luxury hotels in New York City and other places. Our veterans are on the street. They're dying because he doesn't care about our veterans. He doesn't care. He doesn't like the military at all. And he doesn't care about our veterans. Nobody been worse. I had the highest approval rating for veterans taking care of the VA. He has the worst. He's gotten rid of all the things that I approved. Choice that I got through Congress, all of the different things I approved, they abandoned. We had by far the highest, and now it's down in less than half because he's done all these great things that we did. And I think he did it just because I approved it, which is crazy. But he has killed so many people at our border by allowing all of these people to come in. And it's a very sad day in America.
President Biden, you have the mic.
Every single thing he said is a lie. Every single one. For example, veterans are a hell of a lot better off since I passed the PACT Act. 1 million of them now have insurance, and their families have it. Their families have it because what happened, whether it was Agent Orange or burn pits, they're all being covered now. And his group opposed that. We're also in a situation where we have great respect for veterans. My son spent a year in Iraq, living right next to one of those burn pits, came back with stage 4 glioblastoma. I was recently in France for D-Day, and I spoke all about those heroes that died. I went to the World War I cemetery he refused to go to. He was standing with his 4-star general, and he told me, he said, I don't want to go in there because they're a bunch of losers and suckers. My son was not a loser, was not a sucker. You're the sucker. You're the loser.
President Trump?
I guess at least he's not on the defensive anymore.
First of all, that was a made-up quote, suckers and losers. They made it up. It was in a third-rate magazine that's failing, like many of these magazines. He made that up. He put it in commercials. We've notified him. We had 19 people that said I didn't say it. And think of this. Who would say I'm at a cemetery or I'm talking about our veterans? Because nobody's taken better care. I'm so glad this came up, and he brought it up. There's nobody that's taken better care of our soldiers than I have. To think that I would, in front of generals and others, say suckers and losers. We have 19 people that said it was never said by me. It was made up by him, just like Russia was made up, just like the 51 intelligence agents are made up, just like the new thing with the 16 economists are talking. It's the same thing. 51 intelligence agents.
Why does he look like this?
Said that the laptop was Russia disinformation. It wasn't. That came from his son, Hunter. It wasn't Russia disinformation. He made up the suckers and losers, so he should apologize to me right now.
4-star general standing to your side who was on your staff who said you said it, period. That's number one. And number two, the idea that I have to apologize to you for anything along the line. We've done more for veterans than any president has in American history. And they now are in their family. The only sacred obligation we have as a country is to care for our veterans when they come home and their families and equip them when they go to war. That's what we're doing. That's what the VA is doing now. They're doing more for veterans than ever before in our history.
Is this your first watch, Denim? This is my first watch. I did not watch it yesterday. I was outside enjoying myself last night. And I get to enjoy this today. Incredible.
All right. Thank you so much.
No way. Yeah, Bob Byrne, that's right. Yeah. That's right. Yeah, I go outside. Yeah.
Topic of foreign policy. I want to begin with Russia's war against Ukraine, which is now in its third year. Former President Trump, Russian President Vladimir Putin says he'll only end this war if Russia keeps the Ukrainian territory it has already claimed and Ukraine abandons its bid to join NATO. Are Putin's terms acceptable to you?
First of all, our veterans and our soldiers can't stand this guy. They can't stand him. They think he's the worst commander-in-chief, if that's what you call him, that we've ever had. They can't stand him. So let's get that straight. And they like me more than just about any of them. And that's based on every single bit of information. As far as Russia and Ukraine, if we had a real president, the president that knew, that was respected by Putin, he would have never invaded Ukraine. A lot of people are dead right now, much more than people know. You know, they talk about numbers. You can double those numbers, maybe triple those numbers. He did nothing to stop it. In fact, I think he encouraged Russia from going in. I'll tell you what happened. He was so bad with Afghanistan. It was such a horrible embarrassment, most embarrassing moment in the history of our country, that when Putin watched that and he saw the incompetence, that he should have fired those generals, like I fired the one that you mentioned. And so he's got no love lost, but he should have fired those generals. No general got fired for the most embarrassing moment in the history of our country, Afghanistan, where we left billions of dollars of equipment behind. We lost 13 beautiful soldiers, and 38 soldiers were obliterated.
13 beautiful soldiers. Beautiful. And 38 soldiers were obliterated. Mr. Newster, thank you so much for the 17 months.
And by the way, we left people behind, too. We left American citizens behind. When Putin saw that, he said, you know what? I think we're going to go in and maybe take this was his dream. I talked to him about it, his dream. The difference is he never would have invaded Ukraine. Never. Just like Israel would have never been invaded in a million years by Hamas. You know why? Because Iran was broke with me. I wouldn't let anybody do business with them. They ran out of money. They were broke. They had no money for Hamas. They had no money for anything. No money for terror. That's why you had no terror at all during my administration. This place, the whole world is blowing up under him.
President Biden?
I've never heard so much malarkey in my whole life. Look, the fact of the matter is that we're in a situation where, let's take the last point first. Iran attacked American troops, caused brain damage for a number of these troops, and he did nothing about it.
Are you one of the troops with brain damage?
They attacked. He said they're just having headaches. That's all it is. He didn't do a thing when the attack took place, number one. Number two, we got over 100,000 Americans and others out of Afghanistan during that airlift. Number three, we found ourselves in a situation where, if you take a look at what Trump did in Ukraine, this guy told Trump, do whatever you want and do whatever you want. And that's exactly what Trump did to Putin, encourage him, do whatever you want. And he went in. And listen to what he said when he went in. He was going to take Kyiv in 5 days, remember? Because it's part of the old Soviet Union. That's what he wanted to reestablish, Kyiv. And he, in fact, didn't do it at all. He wasn't able to get it done. And they've lost thousands and thousands of troops, 500,000 troops.
President Trump,
I never
come back
said
to you
that.
for 1 minute, I just want to go back to my original question, which is, are Putin's terms acceptable to you? Keeping the territory in Ukraine?
No, they're not acceptable. But look, this is a war that never should have started. If we had a leader in this war, he led everybody along. He's given $200 billion now or more to Ukraine. He's given $200 billion. That's a lot of money. I don't think there's ever been anything like it. Every time that Zelensky comes to this country, he walks away with $60 billion. He's the greatest salesman ever. And I'm not knocking him. I'm not knocking anything. I'm only saying the money that we're spending on this war, and we shouldn't be spending, it should have never happened. I will have that war settled between Putin and Zelensky as president-elect before I take office on January 20th. I'll have that war settled. People being killed so needlessly, so stupidly, and I will get it settled, and I'll get it settled fast before I take office.
President Biden, you have a minute.
The fact is that Putin is a war criminal. He's killed thousands and thousands of people. And he has made one thing clear. He wants to reestablish what was part of the Soviet Empire, not just a piece. He wants all of Ukraine. That's what he wants. And then you think he'll stop there? Do you think he'll stop when if he takes Ukraine? What do you think happens to Poland? What do you think of Belarus? What do you think happens to those NATO countries? And so if you want a war, you ought to find out what he's going to do, because if in fact he does what he says and walks away, and by the way, all that money we give Ukraine are from weapons we make here in the United States. We give them the weapons, not the money at this point. And our NATO allies have produced as much funding for Ukraine as we have. That's why we're strong.
Thank you. Moving on to the Middle East. In October, Hamas attacked Israel, killing more than 1,000 people and taking hundreds of hostages. Among those held and thought to still be alive are 5 Americans.
Finally, Biden and Trump can agree on something. 200 trillion to Israel.
Israel's response has killed thousands of Palestinians and created a humanitarian crisis in Gaza. President Biden, you've put forward a proposal to resolve this conflict, but so far Hamas has not released the remaining hostages, and Israel is continuing its military offensive in Gaza. So what additional leverage will you use to get Hamas and Israel to end the war? You have 2 minutes.
Number one from the
another
United
20 trillion.
Security Council, straight through to the G7, to the Israelis, and Netanyahu himself have endorsed the plan I put forward. Which has 3 stages to it. The first stage is trade the hostages for a ceasefire. Second phase is a ceasefire with additional conditions. The third phase is the end of the war. The only one who wants the war to continue is Hamas, number one. They're the only ones standing out. We're still pushing hard to get them to accept. In the meantime, what's happened? In Israel, we're finding that the only thing I've denied Israel was 2,000-pound bombs. They don't work very well in populated areas. They kill a lot of innocent people. We're providing Israel with all the weapons they need and when they need them. And by the way, I'm the guy that organized the world against Iran when they had a full-blown intercontinental ballistic missile attack on Israel. No one was hurt. No one Israeli was accidentally killed, and it just stopped. We saved Israel. We are the biggest producer of support for Israel of anyone in the world. And so there are 2 different things. Hamas cannot be allowed to be continued. We continue to send our experts and our intelligence people as to how they can get Hamas like we did bin Laden. You don't have to do it. And by the way, they've been greatly weakened, Hamas, greatly weakened, and they should be. They should be eliminated. But you've got to be careful for using certain weapons among population centers.
Just going back to Ukraine for 1 second. We have an ocean separating us. The European nations together have spent $100 billion, or maybe more than that, less than us. Why doesn't he call them and say, you got to put up your money like I did with NATO? I got them to put up hundreds of billions of dollars. The Secretary General of NATO said Trump did the most incredible job I've ever seen. They wouldn't have any. They were going out of business. We were spending almost 100% of the money was paid by us. He didn't do that. He's getting all. You got to ask these people to put up the money. We're over $100 billion more spent, and it has a bigger impact on them because of location, because we have an ocean in between. You got to ask them. As far as Israel and Hamas, Israel's the one that wants to go. He said the only one that wants to keep going is Hamas. Actually, Israel is the one, and you should let him go and let him finish the job. He doesn't want to do it. He's become like a Palestinian. But they don't like him because he's a very bad Palestinian. He's a weak one.
President.
I don't know if you guys saw the Onion article on this. Not Onion article, the Onion post on this. Fact check. Biden is a very bad Palestinian. True. Biden is far too alive to be a Palestinian. But does the Onion miss?
President Biden, you have a minute.
I've never heard so much foolishness. This is a guy who wants to get out of NATO. Are you going to stay in NATO? He's going to pull out of NATO. The idea that we have, our strength lies in our alliances as well. It may be a big ocean, but we're ever able to avoid a war in Europe, a major war in Europe? What happens if, in fact, you have Putin continue to go into NATO? We have an Article 5 agreement. Attack on one is attack on all. You want to start the nuclear war he keeps talking about, go ahead. Let Putin go in and control Ukraine and then move on to Poland and other places. See what happens then. He has no idea what the hell he's talking about. And by the way, I got 50 other nations around the world to support Ukraine, including Japan and South Korea, because they understand that this kind of dislocation has a serious threat to the whole world peace. No major war in Europe has ever been able to be contained just to Europe.
President.
I have to address him. I have to address the pet. No, stop banning. Biden got wrecked. At Denims, who let you commentate on political issues? No such thing as a Palestinian. Palestine doesn't exist, mate. It's not on the map. From user Crisis King, cope. Wait till this guy finds out about math or physics. I can't see it on a map. It doesn't exist. Duh. It's fake. Obviously. Wait till this guy finds out how we draw borders on a map. So countries are abstract, question mark? Women. Hey, one quick question, bro. Are you ugly in real life? I just want to know. Are you ugly in real life? Just a question. Can you tell me? Are you? Your mom didn't find me ugly. I mean, yeah, she's a really nice person. Of course she didn't. That's not what I asked. Are you ugly in real life? That's what I asked. I didn't ask you what my mom's opinion is. She's a saint. I've never even seen her hurt a fly. That's what she says about everyone. So I'm asking you, do you think you're ugly in real life? Oh, sorry. Ugliness is an abstract measure. Guys, he's ugly in real life. So that's a yes? You're ugly? Ooh. Tough. Good luck next time, bro. Good luck. Hopefully in the afterlife, they like fix your face a little bit or something. Whatever's wrong with you. I don't know what's wrong with you.
President Trump, just to follow up, would you support the creation of an independent Palestinian state in order to achieve peace in the region?
I'd have to see, but before we do that, the problem we have is that we spend all the money. So they kill us on trade. I made great trade deals with the European nations because if you add them up, they're about the same size economically. Their economy is about the same size as the United States. And they were no cars, no, they don't want anything that we have, but we're supposed to take their cars, their food, their everything, their agriculture. I changed that. But the big thing I changed is they don't want to pay. And the only reason that he can play games with NATO is because I got them to put up hundreds of billions of dollars. I said, and he's right about this, I said, no, I'm not going to support NATO if you don't pay. They asked me that question, would you guard us against Russia at a very secret meeting of the 28 states at that time, nations at that time? And I said, no, if you don't pay, I won't do that. And you know what happened? Billions and billions of dollars came flowing in the next day and the next months. But now we're in the same position. We're paying everybody's bills.
Let's turn to the issue of democracy. Former President Trump, I want to ask you about January 6, 2021. After you rallied your supporters that day, some of them stormed the Capitol to stop the constitutionally mandated counting of electoral votes. As president, you swore an oath to, quote, preserve, protect, and defend, unquote, the Constitution. What do you say to voters who believe that you violated that oath through your actions and inaction on January 6th and worry that you'll do it again?
Well, I don't think too many believe that. And let me tell you about January 6th. On January 6th, we had a great border. Nobody coming through, very few. On January 6th, we were energy independent. On January 6th, we had the lowest taxes ever. We had the lowest regulations ever. On January 6th, we were respected all over the world. All over the world, we were respected. And then he comes in, and we're now laughed at. We're like a bunch of stupid people. That what happened to the United States' reputation under this man's leadership is horrible, including weaponization, which I'm sure at some point you'll be talking about, where he goes after his political opponent because he can't beat him fair and square.
You have 80 seconds left. My question was, what do you say to those voters who believe that you...
Not the fucking host being like, I'll just repeat my question, I guess. What do you think about that?
Violated your constitutional oath through your actions and inaction on January 6, 2021, and worry that you'll do it again.
Well, I didn't say that to anybody. I said peacefully and patriotically. And Nancy Pelosi, if you just watched the news from 2 days ago, on tape to her daughter, who's a documentary filmmaker, they say, but she's saying, oh, no, it's my responsibility. I was responsible for this because I offered her 10,000 soldiers or National Guard, and she turned them down. And the mayor of, in writing, by the way, the mayor, in writing, turned it down, the mayor of D.C. They turned it down. I offered 10,000 because I could see, I had virtually nothing to do. They asked me to go make a speech. I could see what was happening. Everybody was saying they're going to be there on January 6th. They're going to be there. And I said, you know what? There's a lot of people coming. You could feel it. You could feel it, too, and you could feel it. And I said, they ought to have some...
Dude, Biden looks lost. He looks like he forgot where he was.
They're going to be there on January 6th. They're going to be there. And I said, you know what? There's a lot of people coming. You could feel it. You could feel it, too, and you could feel it. And I said, they ought to have some National Guard or whatever. And I offered it to her. And she now admits that she turned it down. And it was the same day she was, I don't know, she can't be very happy with her daughter because it made her into a liar. She said, I take full responsibility for January 6th.
President Biden?
Look, he encouraged those folks to go up on Capitol Hill, number one. I sat in that dining room off the Oval Office. He sat there for 3 hours watching, begging, being begged by his vice president and a number of his colleagues on the Republican side as well to do something, to call for a stop, to end it. Instead, they talked about these people being patriots and great patrons of America. In fact, he says he'll now forgive them for what they've done. They've been convicted. He says he wants to commute their sentences and say that no. He went to every single court in the nation. I don't know how many cases, scores of cases, including the Supreme Court. And they said, no, this guy is responsible for doing what was done. He did do a damn thing, and these people should be in jail, and they should be the ones who are being held accountable. And he wants to let them all out. And now he says if he loses again, such a whiner that he is, that it could be a bloodbath.
Thank you, President Biden. President Trump?
What they've done to some people that are so innocent, you ought to be ashamed of yourself. What you have done, how you've destroyed the lives of so many people. When they ripped down Portland, when they ripped down many other cities, you go to Minnesota, Minneapolis, what they've done there with the fires all over the city. If I didn't bring in the National Guard, that city would have been destroyed. When you look at all of the...
I, for one, agree with whatever Joe just said.
They took over big chunks of Seattle. I was all set to bring in the National Guard. They heard that. They saw them coming, and they left immediately. What he said about this whole subject is so off. Peacefully patriotic. One other thing. The Unselect Committee, which is basically two horrible Republicans that are all gone now, out of office, and Democrats, all Democrats, they destroyed and deleted all of the information they found because they found out we were right. We were right. And they deleted and destroyed all of the information. They should go to jail for that. If a Republican did that, they'd go to jail.
Thank you, President Trump. President Biden, I want to give you a minute.
The only person on this stage is a convicted felon is the man I'm looking at right now. And the fact of the matter is...
Why did Trump not? Why did he agree with it? Why did he not?
If a Republican did that, they'd go to jail.
Thank you, President Trump. President Biden, I want to give you a minute.
The only person on this stage is a convicted felon is the man I'm looking at right now. And the fact of the matter is, what he's telling you is simply not true. The fact is that there was no effort on his part to stop what was going on up in Capitol Hill. And all those people, every one of those who were convicted, deserves to be convicted. The idea that they didn't kill somebody, just went in and broke down doors, broke the windows, occupied offices, turned over desks, turned them over statues. The idea that those people are patriots, come on. When I asked him the first two debates we had, first time around, I said, will you denounce the Proud Boys? He said, no, I'll tell them to stand by. The idea he's refusing to, will you denounce these guys? Will you denounce the people we're talking about now? Will you denounce the people who attacked that Capitol? What are you going to do?
I'm going to give you a minute, President Trump, for a follow-up question I have.
Wait, I'm so sorry. Wait, guys. Guys, breaking news. Twitch chatter who's a dipshit is an even bigger dipshit in logs earlier. Check this out. It was clearly not an agree nod. Girl, do you have Asperger's? A disagreeing nod, of course. Yes, everybody knows about those. Yeah. Let's see Paul Allen's logs. Maybe he didn't realize they were a minor. Do you have Asperger's? Oh, you can't make this shit up, man. You can't make this shit up, man. Fuck. Dude, no.
After a jury convicted you of 34 felonies last month, you said if reelected, you would, quote, have every right to go after, unquote, your political opponents. You just talked about members of the Select Committee on January 6th going to jail. Your main political opponent is standing on stage with you tonight. Can you clarify exactly what it means about you feeling you have every right to go after your political opponents?
Well, I said my retribution is going to be success. We're going to make this country successful again, because right now it's a failing nation. My retribution is going to be success. But when he talks about a convicted felon, his son is a convicted felon at a very high level. His son is convicted, going to be convicted probably numerous other times. Should have been convicted before, but his Justice Department let the statute of limitations lapse on the most important things. But he could be a convicted felon as soon as he gets out of office. Joe could be a convicted felon with all of the things that he's done. He's done horrible things. All of the death caused at the border, telling the Ukrainian...
I'm sorry, we got to do a quick pause on the debate. We were falling asleep anyway, so check this out. Hey, first time chatter. I saw what you were talking about, and I wanted to point out if this is about disrespect, he never said he didn't know the age. So I'd argue, don't assume things you don't have evidence of. It's like whack-a-mole. Why don't you use FreeTube? Is this not FreeTube? Wait, this is Twitch? Oh my God. Well, thank you for telling me. I'll make sure to go put my political content on there. I think that makes more sense. Yeah, you're totally right. Yeah, for sure, for sure.
In people that we're going to want $1 billion or you change the prosecutor. Otherwise, you're not getting $1 billion. If I ever said that, that's quid pro quo. That we're not going to do anything. We're not going to give you $1 billion unless you change your prosecutor having to do with the son. This man is a criminal. This man, you're lucky. You're lucky. I did nothing wrong. We'd have a system that was rigged and disgusting. I did nothing wrong.
Thank you, President Trump. President Biden, you have said, I'm coming right to you, sir.
Dr. Disrespect always knew the age, or are they really bad at typing?
You want to respond? Go ahead.
Oh, you're fine, Chatter. You're fine. You're good. You're good. Sorry, you're talking in so many double negatives. I think everybody was getting a little lost in the sauce.
To respond.
The idea that I did anything wrong relative to what you're talking about is outrageous. It's simply a lie, number one. Number two, the idea that you have a right to seek retribution against any American just because you're president is wrong. It's simply wrong. No president's ever spoken like that before. No president in our history has spoken like that before. Number three, the crimes that you are still charged with, and think of all the civil penalties you have. How many billions of dollars do you owe in civil penalties for molesting a woman in public, for doing a whole range of things?
Look at him nodding. This is so bad.
Of having sex with a porn star on the night while your wife was pregnant. I mean, what are you talking about? You have the morals of an alley cat.
Give you a minute, sir.
I didn't have sex with a porn star, number one. Number two, that was a case that was started and moved. They moved a high-ranking official, a DOJ, into the Manhattan DA's office to start that case. That case is going to be appealed and won. We had a very terrible judge, a horrible judge, Democrat. The prosecutor were all high-ranking Democrats, appointed people, and both the civil and the criminal. He basically went after his political opponent because he thought it was going to damage me. But when the public found out about these cases, because they understand it better than he does, he has no idea what these cases are. But when they found out.
You're totally right, man. This is what he was saying. No, I didn't have a sex with a porn star. She had it with me. Someone sub this guy. Someone gift this guy a sub, bro. This guy's great. Fucking great chatter.
About these cases. You know what they did? My poll numbers went up, way up. You know that because you're reporting it. And we took in more money in the last 2 weeks than we've ever taken in the history of any campaign. I don't think any campaign has ever taken. Hundreds of millions of dollars came pouring in because the public knows it's a scam and it's a guy that's after his political opponent because he can't win fair and square.
Thank you, President Trump. President Biden, you have said, quote, Donald Trump and his MAGA Republicans are determined to destroy American democracy. Do you believe that the tens of millions of Americans who are likely to vote for President Trump will be voting against American democracy?
The more they know about what he's done, yes. The more they know about what he's done. And there's a lot more coming. He's got a lot of cases down the road coming around. He's got a whole range of issues he has to face. I don't know what the juries will do, but I do know he has a real problem. And so the fact that, could you ever think you hear any president say that I'm going to seek retribution? Do you ever hear any president say that I thought Hitler had some good ideas? What got me involved in the first place after my son had died, I decided in Iraq, because of Iraq, I said I wasn't going to run again until I saw what happened in Charlottesville, Virginia. People coming out of the woods carrying swastikas on torches, and singing the same anti-Semitic bile they sang when
Okay, that was a real sentence. That was a sentence. It only took him 48 minutes to start cooking.
back in Germany, and the young woman got killed. I spoke to the mother, and they asked him. They said, "What do you think of those people? The ones who got killed, the one who tried to stop it, and the ones," he said, "I think they're fine people on both sides." What American president would ever say Nazis coming out of fields carrying torches, singing the same anti-Semitic bile, carrying swastikas were fine people? And this is a guy who says Hitler's done some good things. I'd like to know what they are. The good things Hitler's done, that's what he said. This guy has no sense of American democracy.
Okay. He had a moment of cooking. After 48 minutes, he cooked. He cooked like dishwasher salmon, to be clear. But he did cook a sentence that made sense. Okay. So we got one good Biden moment. All right.
Jake, both of you know that story has been totally wiped out because when you see the sentence. Jake, both of you know that story has been totally wiped out because when you see the sentence, it said 100% exoneration on that. So he just keeps it going. He says he ran because of Charlottesville. He didn't run because of Charlottesville. He ran because it was his last chance. He's not equipped to be president. You know it, and I know it. It's ridiculous. We have a debate. We're trying to justify his presidency.
Yes, he was. He was banned for saying the T slur.
His presidency, he's without question the worst president, the worst presidency in the history of our country. We shouldn't be having a debate about it. There's nothing to debate. He made up the Charlottesville story, and you'll see it's debunked all over the place. Every reasonable anchor has debunked it. And just the other day, it came out where it was fully debunked. It's a nonsense story. He knows that, and he didn't run because of Charlottesville. He used that as an excuse to run.
President Biden?
And debunked. It happened. All you have to do is listen to what was said at the time. And the idea that somehow that's the only reason I ran. I ran because I was worried a guy like this guy could get elected. If he thought they were good people coming out of that forest, carrying those woods, carrying those torches, then he didn't deserve to be president. Didn't deserve to be president at all. And the idea that he's talking about all this being fabricated, we saw with our own eyes. We saw what happened on January 6th. We saw the people breaking through the windows. We saw people occupying his own vice president. Look, there's a reason why 40 of his 44 top cabinet officers refused to endorse him this time. His vice president hasn't endorsed him this time.
Okay, we're back to not making any sense.
Why? Why? They know him well. They serve with him. Why are they not endorsing him?
Oh, wait, he's cooking again? Wait.
President Biden, we're going to be right back with more.
Biden talking is just watching a guy turn the stove on and off and on and off.
From the CNN presidential debate.
Oh, man. Wow, that's that it looks like is the midway point. Some honorable mentions that I would like to highlight really quickly since this is a good intermission point. Dude, I fucking hate liberals. I hate liberals so much, dude. I fucking hate them. This debate apparently know the work rules, and then it's supposed to be, I guess, Trump saying lies. Oh, you're sweet. Raspy voice. Hello, human resources. Why do liberals do this? Why? 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 Poor Kay. Poor Kay. We got to see this Gavin Newsom clip. Wait.
Are you going to be the next Democratic nominee?
No, our nominee is Joe Biden. I'm looking forward to voting for him in November. He's going to be our nominee.
Because you know that everyone are talking about you as a possible nominee now.
Thanks.
Are you enjoying it?
We're going up here?
Are you going to be the
He can't even hide it. The man is smiling like he's up next. Look at this guy. Look at this guy. He can't even hide it.
as a possible nominee now?
He can't hide it. He's like Can we just sub him in at halftime? Also, Newsom would do well nationally. He has the personality of a used car salesman. I mean, also, we have data that shows that attractive candidates do better than unattractive candidates. You can be the straightest man alive and recognize that Gavin Newsom is objectively attractive. And that on its own will get you a bunch of votes. Like, the people saying he'd get wiped in the Midwest, fucking, you're so wrong, dude. You're so wrong. You're so wrong. Gavin Newsom has been slowly poisoning Joe Biden so that he can be president next. Gavin Newsom kicking his feet and giggling. Wine moms would go crazy for him. Dude, you would see wine mom turnout like never before seen. Like never before seen. Never ever seen before. Never. It's funny because, like, do they think that Kansas would go for Biden? Yeah, like he would never. He has to overcome the anti-California rhetoric? No. Donald Trump proved that where you're from doesn't fucking matter. Trump literally has a Trump Tower in New York. He is from New York City. He is the elite. And he has convinced the majority of Americans, well, not majority, but he has convinced a large swath of Americans that he is a working man. The idea that, well, he's got to overcome the whole California thing is ridiculous, absolutely silly. You totally, totally underestimate people's ability to ignore the things that they don't want to see. Reagan was a Republican from Hollywood. It didn't stop him. Correct. Joel, thank you. Joel, thank you so much for the 10 gift subs. Thank you. Thank you so much. Isn't that how Kennedy Sr. won? Yep. Calling him Gavin Newsom. I'm just saying. I'm just saying, dude. I'm just saying. I'm just saying, dude. On the other side of the coin, he probably went to Ivy League schools, got elite education, proved to half the world. I mean, yeah. Is Gavin also Catholic?
Welcome back to the CNN presidential debate live from
I don't know.
Georgia. Let's talk about persistent challenges you both faced in your first terms, and you'd certainly face again in a second.
His parents were Catholics, so he'll probably say that he's a Catholic.
Term. President Biden, while Black unemployment dropped to a record low under your presidency, Black families still earned far less than white families. Black mothers are still 3 times more likely to die from pregnancy-related causes, and Black Americans are imprisoned at 5 times the rate of white Americans. What do you say to Black voters who are disappointed that you haven't made more progress?
They acknowledge they made a lot of progress, number one. The fact of the matter is there's more small Black businesses that have been started than any time in history. Number two, the wages of Black unemployment is the lowest level it's been in a long, long time. Number three, we're trying to provide housing for Black Americans and dealing with the segregation that exists among these corporations that collude to keep people out of their houses. And in addition to that, we find that the impact on the choice that Black families have to make relative to child care is incredibly difficult. When we did the first major piece of legislation in the past, I was able to reduce Black child care costs. I cut them in half. We got to make sure we provide for child care costs. We got to make sure, because when you provide those child care protections, you increase economic growth because more people can be in the job market. So there's more to be done, considerably more to be done. but we've done a great deal so far, and I'm not letting up, and they know it.
You have 49 seconds left. What do you say to Black voters who are disappointed with the progress so far?
I say I don't blame them for being disappointed. Inflation is still hurting them badly. For example, I provided for the idea that any Black family, first-time home buyer, should get a $10,000 tax credit to be able to buy their first home so they can get started. I made sure that we're in a situation where all those Black families and those Black individuals who provided had to take out student loans that were ballooning, that if they were engaged in nursing, doctor, and anything having to do with volunteerism, if they paid their bills for 10 years on their student debt, all the rest is forgiven after 10 years. Millions have benefited from that. And we're going to do a whole lot more for Black families.
Thank you, President Trump.
And he caused the inflation. He's blaming inflation, and he's right, it's been very bad. He caused the inflation, and it's killing Black families and Hispanic families and just about everybody.
Like, this is, so people mistake Trump's ability to make funny remarks in a way that your brain doesn't immediately tune out as not being senile. But I promise you, Trump is like also just as lost. Half the sentences that Trump says sometimes don't make any sense at all. It's literally a coin flip on whether or not Trump will say something that makes sense. But he just has a way of just saying things that you can hear easily. He just sounds more confident. That's it. That's the only difference. Which is easier to listen to than, I gotta say, we got the child care because of that. And then if you pay all your for 10 years, you're doing gonna. Anyways, and then Trump comes in with the, and he raised inflation. It's like, yes, perfect, excellent.
It's killing people. They can't buy groceries anymore. They can't. You look at the cost of food where it's doubled and tripled and quadrupled. They can't live. They're not living anymore. He caused this inflation. I gave him a country with no essential.
Yes, precisely. Trump has the clear advantage here by having the type of dementia that makes you loud and aggressive rather than the Biden style of dementia, where it feels like you're slowly crossfading back to your baby years. Correct. Absolutely correct. Absolutely correct. I've never seen something more correct in my fucking life.
Actually, no inflation. It was perfect. It was so good. All he had to do is leave it alone. He destroyed it with his Green New scam and all this money that's being thrown out the window. He caused inflation. As sure as you're sitting there, the fact is that his big kill on the Black people is the millions of people that he's allowed to come in through the border. They're taking Black jobs now, and it could be 18, it could be 19, and even 20.
So I heard a lot of people talking about this. What the fuck is a Black job? What is that? What is that? Do I want to know what that is? Do I want to know? I don't like the way that either of them say Black. I'm gonna be real. He put in all of his might, not saying Blacks. Yup. Banger from Ellen. In clips I've seen of the debate, Joe Biden keeps doing the face that cats do when they smell something really stinky, but really good. Precisely.
20 million people. They're taking Black jobs and they're taking Hispanic jobs, and you haven't seen it yet, but you're going to see something that's going to be the worst in our history.
Thank you. President Biden?
There was no inflation when I became president. You know why?
There was no inflation, guys. There's no war in Ba Sing Se, guys. There never was. There was never inflation ever. Cyclops, think of the 25 months.
It was flat on its back. 15% unemployment. He decimated the economy. Absolutely decimated the economy. That's why there was no inflation at the time. There were no jobs. We provided thousands of millions of jobs for individuals who are in all communities, including minority communities. We made sure that they have health insurance. We have covered, if the ACA has increased, I made sure that there are $8,000 per person in a family to get written off for the health care. But this guy wants to eliminate that. They tried 50 times. he wants to get rid of the ACA again, and they're going to try again if they win. We find ourselves in a position where the idea that we're not doing any, we put more police on the street than any administration has. He wants to cut the cops. We're providing for equity and making sure people have a shot to make it. There's a lot going on, but in inflation, he caused it by his tremendous malfeasance in the way he handled the pandemic.
Thank you. Another persistent challenge is the climate crisis. 2023 was the hottest year in recorded history, and communities across the country are confronting the devastating effects of extreme heat, intensifying wildfires, stronger hurricanes, and rising sea levels. Former President Trump, you've vowed to end your opponent's climate initiatives, but will you take any action as president to slow the climate crisis?
Well, let me just go back to what he said about the police, how close the police are to him. Almost every police group in the nation from every state is supporting Donald J. Trump. Almost every police group. And what he's done to the black population is horrible, including the fact that for 10 years he called them super predators. We can't, in the 1990s, we can't forget that. Super predators was his name, and he called it to them for 10, and they've taken great offense at it, and now they see it happening. But when they see what I did for criminal justice reform and for the historically black colleges and universities, where I funded them and got them all funded, and the opportunity zones with Tim, as you know, Tim Scott was incredible. He did a great job. Great senator from South Carolina. He came to me with the idea, and it was a great idea. It's one of the most successful economic development acts ever in the country, opportunity zones. And the biggest beneficiary are blacks. And that's why we have the best numbers with them in maybe ever. They're saying ever. I read this morning where ever, the best numbers. He's lost much of the black population because he's done a horrible job for black people. He's also done a horrible job for Hispanics. But wait till you see these millions of people pouring into our country, and they're going to take the jobs, and it's already started, and you haven't seen anything yet. It's a disaster.
You've 38 seconds left. President Trump, will you take any action as president to slow the climate crisis?
So I want absolutely immaculate clean water, and I want absolutely clean air, and we had it. We had H2O. We had the best numbers ever, and we were using all forms of energy, all forms, everything. And yet, during my 4 years, I had the best environmental numbers ever. And my top environmental people gave me that statistic just before I walked on the stage, actually.
I don't know where the hell he's been. The idea that anything he said is true. I've passed the most extensive climate change legislation in history. We find ourselves, and by the way, black colleges, I came up with $15 billion for HBCUs, historic black universities and colleges, because they don't have the kind of contributors that they have to build these laboratories and the like. Any black student is capable in college of doing any white student can do. They just don't have the money, but now they'll be able to get those jobs in high tech. We're in a situation where the idea that he is claiming to have done something that had the cleanest water, he hadn't done a damn thing for the environment. He pulled out of the Paris Peace Accord, Climate Accord. I immediately joined it because if we reach 1.5 degrees Celsius at any one point, there's no way back. The only existential threat to humanity is climate change, and he didn't do a damn thing about it. He wants to undo all that I've done.
The Paris Accord was going to cost us $1 trillion, and China nothing, and Russia nothing, and India nothing. It was a ripoff of the United States. And I ended it because I didn't want to waste that money because they treat us horribly. We were the only ones. It was costing us money. Nobody else was paying into it. And it was a disaster. But everything that he said just now, I'll give you an example. I heard him say before insulin. I'm the one that got the insulin down for the seniors. I took care of the seniors. What he's doing is destroying all of our medical programs because the migrants coming in, they want everybody. And look, I have the
I needed like a mental reset, so I had to go interact with my cat. Did Trump just say that he invented H2O? That they had the best water? That they saved H2O? We had the best stages, the biggest twos, and the cleanest O's. Uh-huh. Okay.
Biggest heart on the stage, I guarantee you that.
Okay.
And I want to take care of people. But we're destroying our country. They're taking over our schools, our hospitals, and they're going to be taking over Social Security. He is destroying Social Security, Medicare, and Medicaid.
Our H2Os are so big that they're H3Os. Wormy, what's up?
We, in fact, we were the only ones of consequence who were not members of the Paris Accord. How can we do anything if we're not able to, the United States can't get its under control? One of the largest polluters in the world, number one. We're making significant progress. By 2035, we will have cut pollution in half. We have made significant progress, and we're continuing to make progress. We set up a climate corps where thousands of young people will learn how to deal with climate, just like the Peace Corps. And we're moving in directions that are going to significantly change the elements of cause of pollution. But the idea that he claims that he has the biggest heart up here and he's really concerned about pollution and about climate, I've not seen any indication of that. And by the way, with regard to...
I mean, Trump literally rolled back EPA protections, so...
prescription drugs, one company agreed that they would reduce the price to $35, which I was calling for, one, voluntarily. I made sure every company in the world, every pharmaceutical company, cannot have to pay.
Thank you.
And by the way...
So every day, millions of Americans struggle just to make ends meet. For many older Americans, Social Security provides a critical lifeline. President Biden, if nothing is done to Social Security, seniors will see their benefits cut in just over 10 years. Will you name tonight one specific step that you're willing to take to keep Social Security solvent?
Yes, make the very wealthy begin to pay their fair share. Right now, everybody making under $170,000 pays 6% of their income, of their paycheck, every single time they get a paycheck from the time the first one they get when they're 18 years old. The idea that they're going to, I'm proposing that everybody, the millionaires pay 1%. So no one I would not raise the cost of Social Security for anybody under $400,000. After that, I began to make the wealthy begin to pay their fair share by increasing from one.
Pay their fair share. The tax rate for the richest is like sub 20%. Pay their fair share. Okay.
Beyond to be able to guarantee the program for life.
So you still have 82 seconds left. Are there any other measures that you think that would be able to help keep Social Security solvent, or is that one enough?
Well, no, that one enough will keep it solvent. But the biggest thing I'll do if we defeat this man, because he wants to get rid of Social Security. He thinks there's plenty to cut in Social Security. He's wanting to cut Social Security and Medicare.
Oh yeah, it's Jover. Oh yeah, Casimir, thank you so much for 6 months.
Both times. And and if you look at the program put forward by the House Republican caucus that I believe supports, is in fact want to cut it as well. The idea that we don't need to protect our seniors is ridiculous. And by the way, the American public has greater health care coverage today than ever before. And on the ACA, as I said, you're in a circumstance where 400,000 people, 40 million people would not have insurance because they have a pre-existing condition. Only thing that allows them to have that insurance is the fact that they, in fact, are part of the ACA. And by the way, the other thing is, we're in a situation where we talk about education for Black communities. I've raised the amount of money for Pell Grants by another $8,000. So anybody making under $70,000 a year is going to be able to get $15,000 toward their tuition. He just doesn't know what he's talking about.
Thank you, President Biden. President Trump.
So I've dealt with politicians all my life. I've been on this side of the equation for the last 8 years. I've never seen anybody lie like this guy. He lies. I've never seen. Years. I've never seen anybody lie like this guy. He lies. I've never seen it. He can look you in the face. About so many other things too. And we mentioned the laptop. We mentioned Russia, 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 Ukraine, Ukraine, Ukraine. Everything he does is a lie. It's misinformation and disinformation. The losers and suckers story that he made up is a total lie on the military. It's a disgrace. But Social Security, he's destroying it because millions of people are pouring into our country, and they're putting them onto Social Security. They're putting them onto Medicare, Medicaid. They're putting them in our hospitals. They're taking the place of our citizens. What they're doing to the VA, to our veterans, is unbelievable. Our veterans are living in the street, and these people are living in luxury hotels. He doesn't know what he's doing. And
I will tell you the problem with American politics. And I figured it out, guys. I cracked the code. We are at the point now where you are not able to commend or criticize either candidate without being accused of being a traitor to a party that you don't even necessarily belong to. Like, if I say anything bad about Trump, ever, there's one guy that's like, actually Trump's pretty good. He did this one thing that was pretty good. He's actually he's really cool, and he did this. And if I say even one good thing about Biden, it's like, Biden's like a real piece of shit. Like, that he did really, and vice versa. It's just, you're not capable of having conversations anymore without someone actively trying to disagree with you anymore. It just doesn't exist. It just doesn't exist. Say something bad about Biden. Liberals get mad and are in your mentions for weeks telling you how much of a dumb fuck you are. Either dumb fuck leftoid or conservative. If you say something good about a liberal ever, if you say something good about Biden ever, you have a bunch of leftists and conservatives telling you that you're wrong. You say something good about Trump, people on the left get mad. You say something bad about Trump, people on the right get mad. It's like, can we just live in reality? Can we just say things about our candidates is that okay? Is that okay? Is it okay for us to say things about candidates without having someone immediately tell me that they disagree because X, Y, and Z? I can't believe it. I can't believe it.
It's really coming back. I've never seen such anger in our country before.
President Biden?
The idea that veterans are not being taken care of, I told you before. And by the way, when I said suckers and losers, he acknowledged after that he fired that general. That general got fired because he's the one that acknowledged that that's what he said. He was the one standing with Trump when he said it, number one. Number two, the idea that we're going to be in a situation where all these millions and millions, the way he talks about it, illegal aliens are coming into the country and taking away our jobs. There's a reason why we have the fastest growing economy in the world, the reason why we have the most successful economy in the world. We're doing better than any other nation in the world.
Really?
And by the way, those 15 Nobel laureates he talked about being phony, those 15 Nobel laureates, economists, they all said that if Trump is reelected, we're likely to have a recession and inflation is going to increasingly go up. And by the way, worst president in history, 159 presidential scholars voted him the worst president in the history of the United States of America.
President Biden, thank you so much. Let's turn to the cost of child care, which many American families struggle to afford. President Trump, both you and President Biden have tried to address this issue, but the average cost of child care in this country has risen to more than $11,000 a year per child. For many families, the cost of child care for 2 children is more than their rent. In your second term, what would you do to make child care more affordable?
Just to go back, the general got fired because he was no good. And if he said that, that's why he made it up. But we have 19 people that said I didn't say it, and they're very highly respected, much more so than him. The other thing is, he doesn't fire people. He never fired people. I've never seen him fire anybody. I did fire a lot. I fired Comey because he was no good. I fired a lot of the top people at the FBI, drained the swamp. They were no good. Not easy to fire people. You'd pay a price for it, but they were no good. I inherited these people. I didn't put him there. I didn't put Comey there. He was no good. I fired him. This guy hasn't fired anybody. He never fires. He should have fired every military man that was involved with that Afghan the Afghanistan horror show, the most embarrassing moment in the history of our country. He didn't fire. Did you fire anybody? Did you fire anybody that's on the border that's allowed us to have the worst border in the history of the world? Did anybody get fired for allowing 18 million people, many from prisons, many from mental institutions? Did you fire anybody that allowed our country to be destroyed? Joe, our country is being destroyed as you and I sit up here and waste a lot of time on this debate. This shouldn't be a debate. He is the worst president. He just said about me because I said it. But look, he's the worst president in the history of our country. He's destroyed our country. Now, all of a sudden, he's trying to get a little tough on the border. He came out with a nothing deal, and it reduced it a little bit, like this much. It's insignificant. He wants open borders. He wants our country to either be destroyed or he wants to pick up those people as voters. And I don't think we just can't let it happen.
I'm sorry, what was the question? I'm sorry, what was the fucking question?
Wins this election, our country doesn't have a chance, not even a chance, of coming out of this rut. We probably won't have a country left anymore. That's how bad it is. He is the worst in history by far.
Thank you, President Trump. President Biden?
We are the most admired country in the world. We're the United States of America.
Most admired country in the world.
There's nothing beyond our capacity. We have the finest military in the history of the world, the finest in the history of the world. No one thinks we're weak. No one wants to screw around with us. Nobody, number one. Number two, the idea that we're talking about worst presidents. I wasn't joking. Look it up or go online. 159 or 58, don't hold me the exact number, presidential historians, they've had meetings and they voted who's the worst president in American history, one through best to worst. They said he was the worst in all of American history. That's a fact. That's not conjecture. He can argue they're wrong, but that's what they voted. The idea that he is doing anything to deal with child care, he did virtually nothing to child care. We should significantly increase the child care tax credit. We should significantly increase the availability of women and men or single parents to be able to go back to work. And we should encourage businesses to have.
Thank you, President Biden. President Trump, the question was about what would.
I'm sorry. I'll take any excuse to get my mind off this debate. You got American flags in the background. Twitch should ban you. And if I may ask, what particular terms of service violation would that be? You aren't a commie. Rainbow flags only. Well, I tried to counter it by like putting the sex carpet and then the rainbow lights. So I'm good. Yeah. You just got to read the fine print. I'm actually good. It's true. It's true. Yeah. Yeah. I'll let you pass. No gulag for you today. Well, I'm not really concerned because you don't leave your room, so I don't really think you're one to be gulagging people. Anyways.
Would do to make childcare more affordable, if you want to take your minute.
Just so you understand, we have polling, we have other things that they rate him the worst because what he's done is so bad. And they rate me, I'll show you, I will show you.
With someone with a history of Alzheimer in the family, I think this debate is activating those genes and I'm getting the early onset version of it. You know, Alzheimer's doesn't run in my family, dude. I spoke to my fucking grandma, and that bitch is like, she's still here at like 98. She just can't hear for shit, but she's here. Like, she's more aware of what's going on than Biden is. But I think I'm going to get Alzheimer's from watching this shit, to be honest with you guys. What the fuck did they rape me? What did he just say?
I'm the worst because what he's done is so bad. And they rape me. I'll show you. I will show you.
These subtitles are crazy.
And they rape me one of the best, okay? And
that's crazy. The subtitles are crazy. The Biden laughing is crazy.
If I'm given another 4 years, I will be the best. I think I'll be the best. Nobody's ever created an economy like us. Nobody ever cut taxes like us. He's the only one I know. He wants to raise your taxes by 4 times. He wants to raise everybody's taxes by 4 times. He wants the Trump tax cuts to expire. So everybody, including the two of you, are going to pay 4 to 5 times. Nobody ever heard of this before. All my life, I'd grow up and I'd see politicians talking about cutting taxes. When we cut taxes, as I said, we did more business. Apple and all these companies, they were bringing money back into our country. The worst president in history by far, and everybody knows it.
President Biden?
Look, the fact of the matter is that he's dead wrong about, he's increased the tariff, he will increase the taxes on middle-class people. I said I'd never raise the tax on anybody making less than $400,000. I didn't. But this tariff is 10% tariffs. Everything coming into the country, you know what the economists say? That's going to cost the average American $2,500 a year more because they're going to have to pay the difference in food and all the things that are very important. Number two, he's in a situation where he talks about how he has not raised, he's somehow helped the middle class. Middle class have been devastated by you. Now you want a new tax cut of $5 trillion over the next 10 years, which is going to fundamentally bankrupt the country. You have the largest deficit of any president in American history, number one. Number two, you have not, in fact, made any contact, any progress with China. We are the lowest trade deficit with China since 2010.
Thank you, President Biden. Thank you, President Biden. Let's discuss an epidemic impacting millions of Americans that both of you have made a top priority in your first term, the opioid crisis. And for both of you, the number of overdose deaths in this country has gone up. Under your term, it went up. Under your term, it has gone up. Former President Trump, despite the efforts that both of you have made, more than 100,000 Americans are dying from overdoses every year, primarily from fentanyl and other opioids. What will you do to help?
So, like, the DNC is going to kill Biden, right? If, like, time doesn't just get to him? Like, they're taking him out back, right? After this? I'm pretty sure you could put anyone in his place and they'd win.
Help Americans right now in the throes of addiction who are struggling to get the treatment they need.
To finish up, we now have the largest deficit in the history of our country under this guy. We have the largest deficit with China. He gets paid by China. He's a Manchurian candidate. He gets money from China. So I think he's afraid to deal with them or something. But do you notice he never took out my tariffs because we bring in so much money with the tariffs that I imposed on China. He never took them away. He can't because it's too much money. It's tremendous. And we saved our...
I'm sorry. I hate to be this person. Was that a fart? That one was one with texture.
He never took them away. He can't because it's too much money. It's tremendous. Imposed on China. He never took them away. He can't because it's too much money. It's tremendous. And we saved our steel industries, and there was more to come, but he hasn't done that. But he hasn't cut the tariffs because he can't, because it's too much money. But he's got the largest deficit in the history of our country, and he's got the worst situation with China. China's going to own us if you keep allowing them to do what they're doing to us as a country. They are killing us as a country, Joe, and you can't let that happen.
Trump saying they're killing us as a country, and Biden fucking yawning.
They're doing to us as a country. They are killing us as a country, Joe, and you can't let that happen. You're destroying our country.
TJN. Thank you for the 3 months.
President Trump, you have 67 seconds left. The question was, what are you going to do to help Americans in the throes of addiction right now who are struggling to get the treatment they need?
Jake, we were doing very well at addiction until the COVID came along. We had the 2.5, almost 3 years of like nobody's ever had before, any country, in every way. And then we had to get tough. And it was the drugs pouring across the border it started to increase. We got great equipment. We bought the certain dog that's the most incredible thing that you've ever seen, the way they can spot it. We did a lot.
I'm sorry, the what? Huh?
It started to increase. We got great equipment. We bought the certain dog that's the most incredible thing that you've ever seen, the way they can spot it. We did a lot. And we were getting very low numbers, very, very low numbers. Then he came along. The numbers, have you seen the numbers now? It's not only the 18 million people that I believe is even low, because the gotaways, they don't even talk about gotaways, but the numbers of the amount of drugs and human trafficking in women coming across our border, the worst thing I've ever seen, at numbers that nobody's ever seen under him because the border's so bad. But the number of drugs coming across our border now is the largest we've ever had by far.
President Trump, thank you. President Biden?
Fentanyl and the byproducts of fentanyl went down for a while. And I wanted to make sure we use the machinery that can detect fentanyl, these big machines that roll over everything that comes across the border. And it cost a lot of money. That was part of this deal we put together.
To be very clear, Chad, I am not an accelerationist. I am not. I have never been an accelerationist. I've always thought accelerationism was like a very pipe dream, like very idealistic, to be quite honest with all of you. I'm not even talking about like in terms of harm. I've always thought it to be very idealistic. It's just very pie in the sky kind of, to be honest. With that in mind, I'm pretty sure if Trump wins and this country gets any worse, you will have people actually like rioting in the streets. We can only hope.
It's bipartisan.
No, don't worry. They're going to buy the certain dogs for riots.
More fentanyl machines, more be able to detect drugs, more numbers of agents, more numbers of all the people at the border. And when we had that deal done, he called his Republican colleagues, said, "Don't do it. It's going to hurt me politically." No, he never argued it's not a good bill. It's a really good bill. We need those machines.
Also, yes, accelerationism will only lead to full-blown fascism. There's no leftist vanguard to direct a popular uprising. Correct. Very correct. Yes. Like I said, I'm not an accelerationist, and I've always thought accelerationism was very idealistic. The idea that overthrowing the government would directly lead to a leftist vanguard is like, or like a leftist ideology or whatever. It's just like, that's not what's going to happen. Okay. The religious right is going to take over. That's what's going to happen. Okay. I'm sorry to be the one to say it. It'll be fascist. Yeah. But like, I'm sorry. Here's what's going to happen. If people continue to have another like decade or 2 decades or however long, of like not being able to pay your bills, of being absolutely demolished by medical debt, like not having job security. What do you think will happen? Like, what do you think is going to happen, dude? Like, this is not, we are so fucked if Trump wins, which it looks like he will win. You mean like now? It has to hit more people is the problem. I would say over the past like 3 decades, we've had a shrinking middle class and a rising lower class, aka more people making poverty wages essentially and not being able to build any savings account. Then the larger that population grows, yeah.
And we're coming down very hard in every country in Asia in terms of precursors for fentanyl. And Mexico is working with us to make sure they don't have the technology to be able to put it together. That's what we have
What's a savings account?
to do. We need those machines.
Thank you, President Biden. President Trump, and again, the question is about Americans in the throes of addiction right now, struggling to get the treatment they need.
Well, this does pertain to it. He ended Remain in Mexico. He ended catch and release. I made it catch and release in Mexico, not catch and release here. We had so many things that we had done, hard negotiations with Mexico, and I got it all for nothing. It's just like when you have a hostage. We always pay $6 billion for a hostage. Every time we say a hostage. Now we have a hostage, a Wall Street Journal reporter, I think a good guy, and he's over there because Putin is laughing at this guy, probably asking for billions of dollars for the reporter. I will have him out very quickly as soon as I take office. Before I take office, I said by literally as soon as I win the election, I will have that reporter out. He should have had him out a long time ago. But Putin's probably asking for billions and billions of dollars because this guy pays it every time. We had 2 cases where he paid $6 billion for 5 people. I got 58 people out, and I paid essentially nothing.
Thank you, President Trump. Dana?
Sorry, I was muted. I was eating my chippies. Sorry. Thank you, Mackie. That's nice of you. Yeah. Yeah. I mean, look at this shit. I'm sorry. What? Breaking. The Supreme Court has ruled 6-3 that it is legal to criminalize homelessness. The court sided with an Oregon town that made it illegal to camp in public, overturning a decades-long precedent that says criminalizing homelessness is cruel and unusual punishment. So, like, where are the homeless people supposed to go?
Let's turn to concerns that voters have about each of you. President Biden, you would be 86 at the end of your second term. How do you address concerns about your capability to handle the toughest job in the world well into your 80s?
Well, first of all, I spent half my career being criticized being the youngest person in politics. I was the second youngest person ever elected to the United States Senate, and now I'm the oldest. This guy's 3 years younger and a lot less competent. I think that just look at the record. Look at what I've done. Look how I've turned around the horrible situation he left me. As I said, 15 million new jobs, 800,000 manufacturing jobs, more investment in America, over billions of dollars in private investment in enterprises that we are growing. By the way, we brought an awful lot of people. The whole idea of computer chips. We used to have 40% of the market. We invented those chips, and we lost it because he was sending people to find the cheapest jobs overseas and then bring home a product. So I went to South Korea. I convinced Samsung to invest billions of dollars here in the United States.
Dude, I'm so sorry to be this person, but like when he talks, I just want to zone out. I just don't. I have to actively try to listen. Oh my God.
Didn't you hear Denims? The homeless people just have to go to the theoretical homeless shelter. Justice Amy Coney Barrett made up that the homeless people can get the cops to drive them to 30 miles away in the next town. This was a real argument made smile.
Mayor cat. Me too.
States, and they're, guess what? Those fabs they call them to build these chips. Those fabs pay over $100,000. You don't need a college degree for them, and there's billions, about $40 billion already being invested and being built right now in the United States, creating significant jobs for Americans from all over the world.
President Biden, you have 40 seconds left. Would you like to add anything?
Yeah, I would. The idea that somehow we are this failing country. I never heard a president talk like this before. We're the envy of the world. Name me a single major country president who wouldn't trade places with the United States of America for all our problems and all our opportunities. We're the most progressive country in the world in getting things done. We're the strongest country in the world. We're a country in the world who keeps our word, and everybody trusts us, all of our allies.
That has to be the biggest cap on the planet. Guys, everyone be very nice, okay? Biden has destroyed our economy. I work 2 jobs. My wife works. We can barely afford a cheap 2-bedroom apartment. And my wife is being laid off because the company is downsizing because Biden's economy sucks. So could you tell me what policy Biden put in place? What executive order or what he signed off on that caused the economy to be bad? Snacks. Sorry about the crunching. Oh my. Meerkat, you're going to hurt yourself. I just saw him fall. Did he answer? The garbage Green New Deal and not using our own gas and oil on our soil. Could you explain to me how the Green New Deal impacts? Do you work in gas and oil? How did it impact you? Um, um, I want to know what he's going to say, guys. I want to listen. Are you fuckers paying attention? This is Troll Masterclass. Ah, but you fail to recognize post law, ex Mensa. Silly, silly mistake. Silly mistake. Guys, is he going to answer? Oh, they answered. When we were energy dependent under Trump, gas was very cheap and no inflation. After Biden took office, gas doubled in price. Housing is over 30% more expensive under Biden. You know, gas prices are determined by the global market, right? They're not determined by the president. You don't have to believe me. Economists who sit down and study this shit like a bunch of nerds will tell you gas prices are dependent on the global market. You know, the whole Russia-Ukraine thing? No, they're not. Are you an economist? Also, how much money are you spending a month on gas? Also, sir, I'm getting word from chat here. Apparently, the United States has produced more crude oil than any other nation at the time, according to an international energy statistics for the past 6 years in a row. Crude oil production in the United States, including condensate, averaged 12.9 million barrels per day, breaking the previous U.S. and global record of 23 million barrels per day in 2019. Average monthly U.S. crude oil production established a monthly record high. So it's actually more. We're actually making more now. Than we have been ever making. I don't know how to tell you. We're making more under Biden. So this sentence, when we stopped using our own gas and oils and had to depend on Iran and Russia, that's when prices went up. No, it's that the gas and oil that we produce is a small portion of the crude oil that we need for our country. So we have to get more from elsewhere. And that's dependent on global gas prices. We've actually been making more. Actually, this is a big reason people don't like Biden. People on the left don't like Biden because he's been making more crude oil. Keep lying to yourself. But this is but I put it on the screen. But it's But you don't have to listen to me. You don't have to believe me. You can look at the picture. It's okay. Honestly, I respect those of you who don't just listen to me immediately. Like, I would like you guys to fact check me, to be quite honest with you all. And I appreciate that you do. But the stats are on the screen. My sister in Christ, stop taking the bait. No. You guys have to understand, bait accounts usually have like anime profile pictures. And maybe something a little too obnoxious as like a banner, like some guns or a flag or something. The fact that this one has actual branding with the Jorge, with the JH, the guy has his own logo. This is someone who's genuine. It's not bait. I promise. But Biden was stumbling all night and could barely talk. He's completely incompetent to lead the country. You know we don't like Biden here, right? You don't have to convince us. We already think that. No one here disagrees with you. Why did you change the topic also? I'm talking about the what do you not like about the I personally, chat, I like to learn more about the other side, okay? I like to understand the conservative mind. I think that knowing the conservative mind helps you understand the conservative mind better, helps you respond to the conservative mind better. So I like to engage with these people genuinely. And I guess just let me play with my food a little, chat. Come on. I guess I'm just I don't understand why you don't believe this data. I don't understand it. I don't get it. You have 2 cats, Denims? Yeah. You like them? They're pretty sick, right? This content is peak. Denim's mukbang is the stuff. You think he's gonna answer? Wormy. 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 Hi, Wormy. Wait. Slightly new setup. That's an apex predator denim. You have to be able to know so little about how America operates in the international policy to have this take. What's this? Shell drops target to cut oil production as CEO aims for higher profits. This is, yeah, I mean, this looks about accurate. Yeah. So on prioritizes shareholder payouts, setting out plan to keep oil production steady until 2030. Shell has abandoned plans to cut oil production each year for the rest of the decade in a shift in approach to firmly target fossil fuel and increase payout to shareholders under its new chief executive. The FTSE 100 oil company on Wednesday announced that the production would remain stable. Where were we? Sorry. Get this shit off the screen. Put it on the screen. It's easier to read. Shell will invest $40 billion in oil and gas production between 2023 and 2035, compared with the $10 and $15 billion in low carbon products. Swan was appointed Shell's chief executive in September, replacing Ben Van Beurden, who had surprised some activists and investors by putting in place a target of achieving net zero carbon emissions by 2050, albeit with only gradual reductions in fossil fuel output planned. Well, yeah, because they're just going to buy carbon credits instead of actually reducing the amount of fossil fuels, right? Or the amount of gas that they're producing. Oil. Yeah, I mean, this is basically all you need to see, right? For Shell to target more fossil fuel production and to increase payout to shareholders is pure climate vandalism, a sign that fossil fuel companies will not steer us in the greener future that we all crave without political leadership. It also announced that 15% planned dividend increase and promised to return $5 billion to investors through a share buyback. Yay, waste of money. So basically, they'll increase how much oil Hassan was on Piers Morgan. Oh, sick. Cool. Sick. Cool, sick. Buybacks, are we still allowing that? You know the really sad part? Buybacks used to serve a purpose, and they still do serve a purpose. The problem is that, much like lobbying, it has been bastardized into something that it should have never become. And that's why we're here. Domestic corporations purposely slow production to keep prices high. So you're selling units of oil for more. Time isn't really an issue for corporations. It's about profit margins. Yeah. I mean, they're basically saying that they want to make more money. So they're going to cut production because then they can charge more supply demand, right? If there's less, then why not, right? So that they can charge more, so that they can give shareholders more. What does Mr. Jorge think about this? And then after that, he didn't respond. Okay, well. He died. Chatter died. Well, so sad. Why is it, I never understand this. Why is it that when you show these people like data and you show these people like straight from the mouths of these CEOs of companies like Shell, straight from their mouths, you show them like the reason your gas prices are getting higher is because the people who make it are charging you more? Why is it that when you do that, they stop typing? I don't understand. I don't get it. You can respond, you know, you can say, I didn't know that, or I've never seen that article, or can you link me that article, or any of those things, or post something, some source that disagrees with me. I don't understand. I don't get it. I just want to talk to a conservative, but then they always stop talking to me. It's fucked up. It's fucked up, guys. TBQH, I don't think that there's anything left in the last 10 minutes of this debate. Why don't we watch them walk off stage and call it a day, huh?
Closing statement.
like so many politicians, this man is just a complainer. He said, we want to do this, we want to do that, we want to get rid of this tax, that tax. But he doesn't do anything.
So hot in here,
he
guys.
doesn't do. All he does is make our country unsafe by allowing millions and millions of people to pour in. Our military doesn't respect him. We look like fools in Afghanistan. We didn't stop Israel. It was such a horrible thing that would have never happened. It should have never happened. Iran was broke. Anybody that did business with Iran, including China, they couldn't do business with the United States. They all passed. Iran was broke. They had no money for Hamas or Hezbollah, for terror, no money whatsoever. Again, Ukraine should have never happened. He talks about all this stuff, but he didn't do it. For 3.5 years, we're living in hell. We have the Palestinians and we have everybody else rioting all over the place. You talk about Charlottesville. This is 100 times Charlottesville, 1,000 times. The whole country is exploding because of you, because they don't respect you, and they have to respect their president, and they don't respect you throughout the world. What we did was incredible. We rebuilt the military. We got the largest tax cut in history, the largest regulation cut in history. The reason he's got jobs is because I cut the regulations that gave jobs, but he's putting a lot of those regulations back on. All of the things that we've done, nobody's never seen anything like. Even from a medical standpoint, right to try, where we can try space-age materials instead of going to Asia or going to Europe and trying to get when you're terminally ill. Now you can go and you can get something. You sign a document. They've been trying to get it for 42 years. But you know what we did for the military was incredible. Choice for our soldiers.
I wouldn't have it any other way. Pedro, thank you for the 4 months.
Where our soldiers, instead of waiting for 3 months to see a doctor, can go out and get themselves fixed up and readied up and take care of themselves. And they're living. And that's why I had the highest approval rating in the history of the VA. So all of these things, we're in a failing nation, but it's not going to be failing anymore. We're going to make it great again.
Thank you, former President Trump, President Biden.
Man, what a mess. What a mess. What a mess. What a fucking shit show, dude. What a fucking Weasley little liar, dude. Weasley little liar, dude. Was it ever great in the first place?
President Joe Biden had just one.
Dude. Felt that, dude.